Hello everyone, this is Dimple, and today I will start with chapter number 2, Trade to Territory Part 2. In the first part, I have explained you about how East India Company came in India, started trading, and how they became rulers of our country. I think so that you have understood my last video and you have understood the chapter. Now we'll see what I'll teach you in this part. I will cover these topics in this part, that how a company became Nawabs, how the company rule expanded, what is a subsidiary alliance, who is Tipu Sultan, what all he did, what were the battles they fought, Marathas battles, Anglo Maratha battles, we'll discuss in this chapter, in this part of the chapter. Now, after the Battle of Plassey, what happened? All the company officials, they wanted to become Nawabs. They were enjoying life as the Nawabs of the territory. They wanted to become Nawabs, but the actual Nawabs, what happened to them? They were forced to give their land and money as personal gifts to the company officials. They were forced to do this. Robert Clive, I'll tell you, Robert Clive, he was the first governor of Bengal. In 1764, he appointed, and along with Warren Hastings, he laid the foundation of the British Empire. He came to Madras in 1743 at the age of 18 years. He came to look after corruption, but he himself was corrupted. He was a greedy speculator. And when he left our India, he made a vast fortune of 400 pounds. Clive was cross examined. The British administration got suspected on him, and they suspected him in 1772 because of its vast wealth. But he committed suicide in 1774 after 10 years. In 1772 he was suspected, and after 10 years he committed. Between that also he has committed twice suicide. But in 1774 he died at the age of 49. Now, how did companies rule expanded? Before that, I'll tell you that how these officials, these Britishers, they wanted to be called as Nabobs, which is a very anglicized version of Indian word Nawab. Many of them died at an early death in India due to diseases and wars, and some remained. How the company rule expanded. How East India Company expanded its rule from 1757 to 1857. How did they expand it? They expanded by the process of annexation. What do you know by annexation? Annexation of Indian states means adding more and more states in their ruling territory. They never attacked on our territory, Indian territory, directly. They acquired some variety of political, economic, and diplomatic methods to annex kingdoms to influence our Indian territories. Now, what are these political, economic, and diplomatic methods? I think you would have remembered some of the political methods which they have adopted earlier. Like they kept a puppet at the time of Mughals. Do you remember that? How they brought Mir Jafar and this? And this is a political method. Then they started interfering in our internal affairs. And what are those economic methods? It is a subsidiary alliance, which I'll teach you in the next paragraph, that they adopted subsidiary alliance in our country. And they also acquired economic methods in the time of Battle of Buxar and Plassey, that how they had a loss of revenues, they were not allowing to pay taxes, and Diwani forces were there. Next comes the diplomatic methods. Methods are annexing different states. So, after the battle, what happened? After the battle of Buxar, they strengthened their roots. The company, the English East India Company, they strengthened their roots. And what did they said? They thought, now we will appoint our own residents. What do you mean by residents? Residents are the political agents who will only serve for the company's interest. They will only help in the, they will only speak, they will only take decisions for the company only. So now the company officials, what happened? After the residents, what they started doing? They started interfering in all the matters of the states. All the important decisions were also taken by them, like who will be the next successor to the throne, who will be appointed as the officer. So company, what did they do? They, after that, the companies forced our Indian states, our Indian servants, our Indian soldiers to acquire subsidiary alliance. Now, what is this subsidiary alliance? Subsidiary alliance was framed by Lord Wellesley. He was the Governor General of India at the time of 1798 to 1805. Subsidiary alliance is that the Indian soldiers were not allowed to have their independent armed forces. They were protected by the armed forces of the Britishers. And these Indian rulers, they have to pay huge amount for this protection. What is the protection? The subsidiary forces which the company was providing us. We were not allowed to keep our own army. The Britishers will provide us with the army, and in return they will charge us a huge amount of money. And if we are not able to pay that money, then what will they do? They will take some part of our territory, would be taken away as a penalty, as a fine from us. They have to pay subsidiary. Indian soldiers, Indian rulers, they have to pay subsidy to the Britishers for the maintenance of the British army. In return, what will the Britishers do for us? They will protect us from our enemies. And how they gained from subsidiary alliance? They gained the control over major princely states without any war. They did not had any war with us, and still they started ruling in our most of our states by subsidiary alliance or spending any money. Then it also, this subsidiary alliance also helped Britishers to expand their trade and maintain army all over India. So this is how this strategy of subsidiary alliance worked. And this is how they have ruled us very ruthlessly till 1857. Now comes Richard Wellesley, who was the Governor General of 1798 to 1805. How he acquired subsidiary alliance? Awadh and Hyderabad are also the examples. They are the main examples of subsidiary alliance. Richard Wellesley forced the Nawab of Awadh to give over half of his territory to the company. Hyderabad is also faced the same example of the subsidiary alliance. He was also forced, this Hyderabad was also forced to give its territory on the similar grounds. Now we will come to Tipu Sultan. This picture, this slide which I am showing you, it is of a Tipu Sultan who is known as a Tipu Sahib or Tipu Tiger of Mysore. Now there is a story behind why he is known as the Tiger of Mysore. Once he went for hunting with his French friend, and there they saw a tiger. And when he was ready to shoot the tiger, his dragger fell down on the ground. and he fought with the tiger unarmed until he picked up the dagger and killed the tiger with the gun. So from that time he was came to known as Tiger of Mysore. I hope that you have understood till here. I'll tell you about Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan, now Mysore was a very powerful kingdom. Why it was a powerful kingdom? Because it was under the leadership of Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan. Hyder Ali was ruled from 1761 to 1782, and Tipu Sultan from 1782 to 1799. Mysore was a powerful kingdom, and it controlled the trade of all the Malabar coast, from where the company purchased sandalwood, pepper and cardamom. What did the Tipu Sultan do in 1785? He stopped the export. He was a very powerful ruler. So what he did? He stopped the export and he disallowed all his local merchants from trading with the company. He said that we will not trade with the English East India Company. He was against the Britishers. And he had a strong relation with the French. French were the very big rivalries of Britishers. He also modernized his army with the help of French. Now Britishers knew that Hyder Ali and Tipu was very ambitious, arrogant and dangerous. It is very difficult for them to crush them, to defeat them. So four wars were fought with Mysore in 1767, 1790, 1780, 1790 and 1799. The Battle of Seringapatnam is very important. It was the last battle which was fought. Now what happened in 1792? 1792, the company attacked to Tipu Sultan by the combined forces of Marathas and Nizam of Hyderabad. Tipu Sultan was defeated in that, and he has to sign a treaty with British that his two sons would be taken away as hostages. Now, Battle of Seringapatnam. Seringapatnam is the capital of Mysore, and it is very important because it is a dominating victory, and where Tipu Sultan was killed by defending his capital. Then Mysore was placed under the former ruler dynasty of Wodeyars. After Tipu Sultan, it was placed under Wodeyars with the same subsidiary alliance, on the same grounds that without taxes on trade that were imposed on the states, and it was with the subsidiary alliance. Now Maratha of this is a Tipu's toy. It is a mechanical toy which the Tipu has created for his own use in his personal emblem. And in this, the tiger is expressing hatred towards this enemy. It is an European soldier, and Britishers took it away when the Tipu Sultan died on May 4th, 1799. It was kept in Victoria and Albert Museum in London. Now we will speak about Marathas. Marathas wanted to rule Delhi. They were also very powerful. They wanted to rule Delhi, but their dreams shattered after the battle. Which battle? The Battle of Panipat. It was the third battle of Panipat. It was fought between Afghan ruler Ahmad Shah Durrani and the company, East India Company, and in that Marathas were defeated. The Britishers wanted to destroy Marathas' power. They thought now they had control over Mysore. Now they thought that they will control over other places where Marathas were ruling. After the Battle of Panipat, Marathas were divided into different states. It was divided into different states: Sindhya, Holkar, Gaikwad, and Bhosle, with a common military head, Peshwa. Peshwa, they were under common head. Mahaji Sindhya and Nana Fadnis, they were very famous Marathas soldiers. Now I'll discuss with you the wars which were fought between Marathas and the company. They were known as the Anglo-Maratha War. It was from 1803 to 1805. The second Anglo-Maratha War, it was also fought. It gained Odisha, Agra, and some parts of Delhi. Intensified situation started, and then started the third battle of Anglo-Maratha War, which was fought in 1817 to 1819. Now this, the Britishers won and the Marathas were crushed over. They were totally crushed. Now they have control over the southern territories of Vindhyas, and Britishers became the supreme power. And what happened? The Peshwas were removed and they were sent to Bithur, it is near Kanpur, with some amount of pension. We will complete the chapter, we will complete this part today here only. I will continue with part 3 in my next video. I hope so that you have understood this video. Please leave comments in the comments box and press the like button. Subscribe my channel. I would be very thankful to you.